Well, I am at the Olallie State Park, which is just off Interstate 90 as you head up towards Snoqualmie Pass if you're coming from the Seattle area. And this state park is actually kind of spread out, and there's actually other state land and some federal land that bound this state park. But of course, I'll mainly be focused on the Olallie State Park. We may end up in other state land, including federal land, as I do some hiking and exploring this state park. I am at the Twin Falls area of the state park here, and this section of the state park is really primitive. My plan was to hike up to the Twin Falls Bridge, which is 1.3 miles from the trailhead. This trail does parallel the Snoqualmie River until it gets to the Middle Falls. This is the first view spot of the lower falls. This is a little spur trail which leads down to another view spot of the lower falls. This is from the bridge, and just beyond that rock in the center is the top of the lower falls. This is looking upstream towards the Middle Falls. I decided to hike a little bit further past the bridge to this point to get a better look at the Middle Falls before turning around and heading back to the trailhead. There's a couple of overlooks that I missed on the way out but managed to catch on the way back. I moved on now, and I'm at the Homestead Valley Trailhead. And much like the Twin Falls Trailhead, it's really primitive. It just has a parking lot with a vaulted toilet. So from this trailhead, there's a short trail which leads up to the Palouse to Cascade State Park Trail, which is a long-distance rail trail. And of course, from there you have a couple different options. If you travel down it just a little ways, it comes to the Mount Washington Trail, which is what I was planning on taking. I made it to the Palouse to Cascade State Park Trail. We're heading west, and short ways down we should be able to connect in with the Mount Washington Trail. And as you can see, it's raining pretty hard now. This is the Mount Washington Trail. It looked like there was a bunch of caves on this cliff. Some were fairly high up, so it's hard to tell how far back they went. At least this one lower cave you can hike into. People have drilled in anchor points to do some rock climbing here. So I decided to hike a little further on the Mount Washington Trail. I was looking for view spots. I knew I wasn't going to get any because of the clouds and all the rain. So I hiked a little bit past the caves and then turned around. By the time I got back to my van, I was completely soaked through and it was going to rain the rest of the day, so I decided to call it a wrap for the day. I'm back out here at the Olallie State Park, and now I'm at the Deception Crags Trailhead. There's a short trail that leads up to the Palouse and Cascade State Park Trail, and there's some rock climbing area up there, and then also there's some old railroad trestles that we'll have to cross, so it should be really good, and the weather is much nicer than it's been. I'm up here on one of the railroad trestles, and we're looking back at one of the climbing areas. Seems like a lot of it's beginner level to intermediate climbing. Here is another railroad trestle, and this one is crossing Hull Creek. Right after the trestle, there was an established trail that led down to Hull Creek, so I figured I'd hike down there. This is Hull Creek, and the trail did follow the creek downstream. This ended up being the turnaround spot. Well, this is the main picnic area for the Olallie State Park, and this is even pretty primitive. There's no shelters, and there's just a single vaulted toilet, and then there's a ranger residency here. From the picnic area, there is a trail that leads to Weeks Falls along the Snoqualmie River. I elected to just walk on the service road to the falls. Just below the falls, there's a small hydroelectric generating station. It can power about 800 homes. This is Weeks Falls, and although there's some other trailheads and other stuff you can do in the state park, this is where I called it a wrap. So I want to thank you for watching Olallie State Park.